Hey guys, Loco here. Dignitas finally announced all 5 members for their Academy team. Usually I don't do a roster rundown on Academy teams, but my god, this Academy roster is so loaded and so interesting, I just have to talk about it. So, without further ado, let's get started. So the 5 players starting for Dignitas Academy is Lourlo in top lane, Acadian in jungle, Demonte mid lane, Phoenix AD carry, he role swap from mid to AD, and Olli in support. First up, let's go one by one of all these members and how they kind of ended up here and my initial first thoughts on them. Let's start with Lourlo. This is a player I coach, this is a player I'm good friends with, I'm really glad to see him start. So recently, I thought Lourlo was just going to stream all the way into 2020. I know he didn't get the offers that he wanted to in the off season, and he even considered going to Europe, and his stream is doing really well. I always see him around 1k or 1.5k viewers whenever he's streaming, so I was like, oh, well, Lolo's going to be a streamer, he's already being really successful with it. Then surprise, Rodop, the player that was supposed to be Dignitas' 2020 Academy top, actually has visa issues and he can't come over to California, so there's a vacant spot. And Lourlo was an available top laner that is on the Academy level, so they decided to go with him. Now, moving on to jungle, we have Acadian. Oh man, Acadian of previous TSM fame. Not even 1 year ago, Acadian was up 2-0 in spring final versus Team Liquid. Now, he's playing for an Academy team. So many things changing within a year. Insert joke about listen Loco also and then go fuck yourself. But anyways, Acadian in Academy jungle, my god. I'm actually pretty surprised Acadian didn't get a starting offer for LCS. He was pretty decent on TSM, but man, Acadian in Academy. He's gonna pretty much stomp everyone. I think Acadian's a great player when it comes to murdering peasants. So it's a term used in Korea, like killing peasant. It means you're really good at beating people weaker than you. And I think Acadian's exactly that player. When he goes versus players that are a little bit more cerebral, that can match him in terms of mechanics, that can match him in terms of pathing, he definitely does not shine as much. But when it comes to playing players that are underneath his level, my god, this guy's a monster. So I think Acadian is going to be by far one of the best junglers in Academy. So kind of excited. Now moving to mid lane, Demonte, another hilarious situation. Demonte used to be the starting mid for Clutch last year, which turned it to Dignitas, and they let him go, and he couldn't find other offers for starting LCS team, so he ends up going back to Clutch/Dignitas now as the starting Academy mid laner. Also a player pretty much too good for Academy. He went to Worlds for goodness sake. I don't think he's the most complete player in LCS, and he definitely has his weaknesses, and he's very limited in his champ pool and the champions he can shine on, but in Academy, I don't think that's going to be a problem. Oh god, this whole Dignitas Academy situation is just too funny. Moving to AD carry, we have Phoenix, one of my absolute favorite players to coach. So speaking to supports and other players that have played with Phoenix since he role swapped to AD carry in solo queue, he's supposedly a god in lane. And that doesn't surprise me. Even when Phoenix played mid lane, he is known for being such an excellent laner. I remember talking to Jensen way back about, I would say a year and a half ago, and I asked him what he thought about Phoenix, and he said Phoenix is actually one of the best pure laners. But yeah, there's a lot of problems that goes beyond just laning. He plays with zero respect for jungle. He just does not practice like first stage, and he does weird things like buy 5 HP pots in scrims just to win lane. He's a very egotistical player. Recently, Doublelift called out Phoenix for dying to pretty much every gank that ever came his way, and Phoenix tweeted about how he's working on fixing these mistakes. But I don't know, man. Mark G has said the same thing regarding Phoenix and his playstyle and his problems even before I coached him and I experienced similar problems. So this has been a problem for up to 5 to 6 years and it just has not gotten fixed. So yeah, I'm not sure, Phoenix. Maybe you're a born again Christian and you have a new outlook on life and you will start fixing these problems. But looking at it right now, players that are this stubborn, that have been playing for this way for such a long time, usually don't make the change. At least as an AD carry, he can still carry over his good mechanics and very strong laning and can get help by the support. And yeah, let's move on to the support role. For support, we have Olli. Olli is actually someone that's also been playing forever, and I'm kind of surprised to see him play in Academy. He's played for a lot of different LCS teams, and he's also won 2 championships with TL. Definitely another player that's outclassing everyone else in Academy in his role. I don't think there's going to be any other support as good as Olli in Academy, but also another incomplete player. Olli's very good at being dominant in lane with range champions, roaming, and putting his presence on the map. But I think Olli has problems when it comes to macro, when it comes to vision, when it comes to playing more of the melee champions and being more of a tank, being more cerebral. So yeah, that's what I would like to see Olli work on in Academy. But I don't know, man. When your team is this good, it's really hard to focus in on the problems and work on them because you're going to be winning so much. So let's talk about them as all 5. The first thing that stands out to me is this is probably the most veteran Academy team ever. Lourlo has been playing since 2016 on TLA. It's been 4 years for him. He's played on other teams before TLA, I think CLG Academy and all these like random ass teams, but if you count these random ass teams, then yeah, it's easy to get lost. So I'm going to start with all LCS teams or right below LCS for these players when I'm counting the years they've been playing. Acadian also since 2016, he actually started on TLA. Yes, he has had teams before, but the same thing for Lourlo. When we count all these like random ass teams, it makes it really murky. So he's had 4 years of experience. Demonte also starting in 2016 as an enemy sub. 4 years. Yes, he's actually in the exact same category that Lourlo and Acadian is in, playing for random ass NA teams before that. But yeah, between Lourlo, Acadian, and Demonte, they all have 4 years of previous like competitive experience. And then we move on to Phoenix and Olli. These guys have started in LCK or OGN, whatever you want to call it. Phoenix started to play for Jin Air in 2013, so it's been 7 years for him, and even before that he was a trainee for CJ. And Olli since 2013 with KT Arrows for 7 years also. So yeah, there's 28 years of experience for all these players combined, and they're playing in Academy. Wow. It's definitely not an Academy team, and I think an Academy team is about development, and that's what it at least should be about. But currently in NA, there's not really a second league, and there's nowhere veterans can go to really show what they have in practice beyond LCS and Academy. So the veterans that aren't quite good enough for LCS kind of get shoved into Academy, and it's taking away spots for emerging players. We can get into the problem of LCS and what's below LCS and how current NA ecosystem is another day, but I do think this Dignitas lineup is an indicator of that. We just don't have space for these players to go when they're not starting in LCS, and the side effect for that is pushing out players that are going to be new and emerging from Academy due to it getting filled by veterans. Also, funny enough, all these guys played in LCS too. Lourlo with TL, GGS, Acadian, Echofox, Optic, TSM, Demonte, Echofox, Clutch Gaming, Phoenix, TL, Echofox, Olli, Immortals, TL, GGS. My god, I can just go on forever about how much experience these guys have. So let's talk about something else, how good they'll be in Academy. In Academy, this team is going to be unstoppable. They have the strongest mid and jungle duo, and mid and jungle as a duo and competitive is always going to be one of the 2 most important roles. Also, Acadian and Demonte are actually really good friends outside of the game, so that's going to help their synergy too. And also their competition is just too green, and they don't have the experience to really compete. I can think of like 3 other like top tier Academy mid and jungle duo. Yusui, Shernfire from TL. Yusui also pretty relatively new to the competitive scene. Shernfire first time playing in NA. Cat Evolved and Spica from TSM. Cat Evolved straight from solo queue, went through scouting grounds. Spica also in a similar case, very new to competitive scene. He did the LCS playoff time in Gauntlet just due to the shithole that was TSM last year, but enough about that. Palafox and Nori from C9. And Nori definitely a veteran, but Palafox on the newer side. Maybe this is a duo that can stand up to them. But yeah, I think Acadian and Demonte will be by far the strongest mid and jungle duo, and if they aren't, it's going to be embarrassing. So Phoenix as AD carry, I talked about it a little bit earlier. Man, this is going to be interesting. I think the combination of Phoenix and Olli are going to make them very lane dominant, but they're not going to be a very smart duo, and I'm not sure who's going to really teach them to be a smart duo. And these are players that are veterans, that are going to be stubborn, that are going to be pretty strong-headed in terms of how they want to play the game. So yeah, the bot lane is going to be very interesting too. One thing I'm a little bit worried about is going to be their macro. I think overall, because they have 5 veterans, their macro cannot be bad, but Olli has never been really known as a macro player, nor has Acadian. Immortals had bad macro till Xmithie and Song came in, and also for Acadian, he's always been a very vocal player, but I'm not sure if macro is his strong suit. He's a shot caller, he's a leader, but is he the most brainy player? Also no, but I'm not sure if anyone in Academy is going to be challenging them in the macro sense. So yeah, any kind of weakness I bring up for this team, I just think about it and I'm like, but they're going to be playing in Academy. Does that really matter? Nah. So yeah, this team is going to be dominant in Academy, and I guess it gives everyone a reason to watch Academy, right? So overall, is this good? Is this fine? Should more teams be doing this? I think it's a mixed answer, and for me, it's a no, but there are good parts about it. So let's talk about the good parts before we talk about the bad part. It's going to be a great practice squad. In current LCS ecosystem, it's really hard to get dedicated practice. You're practicing against another LCS team that have their own things that they want to practice, and you're finding the middle ground between what you want to be working on versus what they want to be working on. But by having the 11th LCS team and a really strong Academy squad, this team is going to be able to provide really good focus practice for the Dignitas LCS team if they do need it. Also, the really big part that I think is good about this is it makes Academy so interesting. We talked about how the new format for LCS in 2020 includes a lot more Academy broadcasts. So yeah, at least people will have more reasons to watch Academy just due to this team, and there is a lot of fan favorite players on here. Demonte, Acadian, Olli, people want to watch this team. I mean, even Lourlo has a huge stream following. Now, for the negative, just this team should not exist in Academy. There needs to be a different league for all these guys to play on. We know what they are, and we know they have that experience where Academy should be about development. But we are in this weird middle ground where there isn't a development league and there isn't a secondary league, and it's just kind of jumbled into Academy. So yeah, not the greatest situation. And also, they're going to be beating up on players with no experience, like players playing competitive for the first time. Yes, it's good to play against players that are higher level than you, that are going to be bringing a higher caliber of play that you can learn from after you get destroyed from. But it's going to be really discouraging. And yeah, I just don't think the levels really match up. And there's so much iffiness about this. Is it really these guys' fault that they're playing on this Academy team? Not really. Like, there just isn't another league. Is it great for the scene overall? Not really also. So person I want to criticize, I guess, is whoever's in charge of making LCS so isolated and not allowing for other avenues for these players to go and play. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this roster rundown. I just could not help laughing throughout this roster rundown due to the ridiculousness of the situation and that these 5 veterans are playing in Academy. And I'll be watching more Academy. I'm sure it's going to be so entertaining doing VOD reviews on these guys beating up on Academy players. And I hope you guys follow me for those VOD reviews and stay tuned in. Let me know what you think about this Academy team. Maybe my take was bad. Maybe you have a different take on it completely. Maybe you guys think it's great that all these 5 veterans are playing in Academy. Leave a comment down below and I'll be sure to reply to you. One last thing, I'm not crazy, I'm just loco. Bye!